Hello, East Goshen. Hope you're having a great Tuesday so far. It is gorgeous outside. Hopefully, you're able to get out today and enjoy the weather. I'm out and about again today, so I'm coming to you from the car because it's very windy, even though it's so warm. We are in James chapter 4 for our devotions this week, so as always, take your time, work your way through the chapter, work at your own pace, and if you find anything that I neglect to mention in these videos, let me know in the comments or in a message. I'd love to be able to see what kind of insights the Lord is giving you through your devotions. But like I said, we're in James chapter 4 today. We finished up chapter 3 on Friday, where James tells us that where we find selfish ambition and envy, there we find every kind of disordered desire and the appropriate following actions because of those desires. So we have this misordered love where we're supposed to elevate others to be above ourselves, but instead we turn inward and focus on our own desires above all else. And so that's a continuation of the discussion from chapter 3 is the beginning of chapter 4. At the beginning of chapter 4, James asks, what causes quarrels and fights among you? It is the desires that wage war within you. It causes us to be at odds with other believers because it elevates us to a position that we are not meant to occupy. It is a form of pride. The selfishness is pride, masking itself as self-concern. And so when we elevate ourselves to that position, we naturally have a prideful understanding of who we are and what we need. And so he says that if we are to ever follow God, if we're to submit ourselves to the Lord, we have to be humble. That's what we're going to focus on in our verse for today, which is James 4:7. Submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. God gives us the grace that we need to be able to follow in his footsteps, to be able to live as he taught us to live, to be humble and submitted to his will. There is this satanic temptation throughout the New Testament. Jesus dealt with it in the beginnings of his ministry, and so I'm assuming that's what James is getting at, this satanic temptation to find shortcuts in the world and to focus on yourself as opposed to others. Oftentimes, what Satan tries to do in his temptations is not to fully direct us in rebellion to God, but to direct us to the wrong things that are good in our lives. So it directs us towards things that benefit us, which are not inherently bad, but when we elevate them over others, well, then we become prideful, and then we are not submitted to God's will. It's the temptation to take shortcuts in this life, to seek power and influence and monetary gain, as opposed to serving others. So if we want to be submitted to God's will, we have to be humble, and God gives us more grace to accomplish this. He gives us the ability to say yes to his purposes for our life. And ultimately, a humble lifestyle will lead us away from quarrels and fights in the body of believers. So God gives us this ability to say yes to his purposes and to say no to the temptations of Satan that pull us towards the world, that pull us into friendship with things that are against God's will for our lives. And so today, as we reflect on this verse, how are you resisting the temptation towards worldliness in your life? Do you always find it easy? And if you don't, God gives the grace necessary to be able to live this way. So ask him today for the strength to say no to the world and to say yes to his purposes, being submitted wholly to what he has for your life. Thank you for joining me. As always, I will see you later this week for the rest of James chapter 4. Enjoy the rest of your day.